Everybody, welcome from Cyprus. My name's Mitch Platt. I'm the co-founder, CEO, and president of Vendo Services. We help merchants get fast, reliable payment processing so they can focus on what's most important, their business. We remove business complexities, we decrease risk, and we promote revenue growth with our cutting-edge AI tools. We've got two objectives for our clients. The first one is they fulfill their potential, and the second one is they become raving fans. So today, I'm not here to talk about us. I'm actually here to talk about you and your companies and to talk about your organizational health. So if you're ready, un, dos, tres, catorce, as U2 says, let's get started. How do you continuously reinvent yourself, take advantage of what you have and create new opportunities? How can you make better, get better, do better, perform better at what you already know, and at the same time, on an ongoing basis, be prepared for continuous innovation that supports your company? When I talk about innovation, and I use the word innovation, how many people have a gut reaction? Is it an overused, is it a buzzword? Does it give you gas, make you want to fart? Or is it a fundamental need for your business? Actually, innovation's all three. It's one of the top 5 most overused words in marketing, but it's a fundamental key to your business. And today, what we're going to be talking about, the focus on exploration in service of continuous innovation to support your company's growth. There are 2 reasons why a company fails. The first one is the company does the same thing that it's always done. There's an expression that goes, what has gotten you here won't get you there. And the same thing for your company. One of the reasons they fail is that they become complacent. They become boring. They only do the same thing. And their company is put at risk. The other reason is they only look to the future. They look to the mythical unicorn. They feel like they can hit that 1 billion USD company. Or they're associated with someone who thinks they're the next Elon or next Steve. And what's that expression about lightning striking twice? It doesn't. So if these are the 2 reasons why companies fail, well, what's that pathway to continuous success and growth? That's what we want to talk about today. So before we get started, full transparency, the concepts that I'm going to share today are not my own. These are things that I have learned through business, through education, through studies, and applied them to my business. They woke me up. They changed the way I do business. Now, the experience I'm going to share is 100% my own and 100% my company's. I believe, and we believe, you can stand on the shoulders of others to reach new heights. Stand on the shoulders of giants to see further. You can learn from those mistakes. And if you can learn from those mistakes, you can hockey stick the growth of your company. You can be prepared for organizational health. So today we're going to be talking about what we can learn from others. At the end of my keynote today, I'm going to share a list of cited content, things that we're geeking out on, things that we're reading, so you can have access to that. Exploration and exploitation. So, and I know I can't see you out there that are watching, but how many explorers do we have in the room? Explorers are kind of cool. They go out and do things. Okay, there's some hands up showing up. How many exploiters? And I can't see you out there in the world. Oh, we got an exploiter. Someone admits it. That's awesome. So, explorers are kind of cool, right? You know, by the show of hands, we know who our Star Trek fans are. The Trekkies, to boldly go where no one has gone before. And we saw a couple exploiters. They're probably the marketers. But let's define exploration and exploitation. Because when you hear the word exploitation, you might think, that's a fighting word. I'm not sure if I like that. But today, we're only talking about exploration and exploitation in the service of the health and the growth of your company. So exploration, let me define it. Exploration is the process of finding new improvements, tools, services, or products that keep and make your clients happy. Whoa. Let me say that again because it's important. Exploration is the process of finding new improvements, tools, services, or products that keep and make your clients happy. It's a cool thing. Exploitation is all about making sure that you have the systems and processes to take advantage of what you already have, that you have resilience, that you can lower costs, that you can make the most out of what you have. You make sure that the trains are running on time. So you're probably thinking right now, exploration sounds really good. Exploitation sounds really good. I want both of those for my business. And when that happens, something magical happens. You get the balance right. So I don't know if there's any Depeche Mode fans here. Might be a little bit dated. Depeche Mode fan over there, they just got inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they have a great song, Get the Balance Right. So today we're going to be talking about getting the balance right between exploration and exploitation, because where it meets in the middle, that is where the magic happens. Getting the most out of exploration and exploitation. So let's talk about some things that get in the way of the balance. This is Henry the hippo. Does anybody know what the acronym or what the hippo effect stands for? Anybody want to take a guess? So the hippo effect, it's an acronym for the highest paid person's opinion. So the highest paid person's opinion in the room. That's the hippo effect. And the hippo effect has some consequences. If that person's opinion, if Henry's opinion in this case, is correct, well, it's awesome. You can do good things. But if it's not correct, it can blindly lead a company down a pathway of iterations and explorations that never meet a market need. Now, I empathize with Henry because sometimes I feel like I have an idea, and I might consider myself a hippo, highest paid person opinion, and I put on the blinders and I don't listen to anybody else. But there's consequences to that. Oops. So what happens to a company that has the hippo effect and it follows that hippo down a process of an idea that is not generating the results that it wants? The company gets exhausted. We don't matter. Social emotional intelligence, right, people? Today, mattering is important. I guarantee you in your company, big or small, people want to matter. They feel under-resourced because we're only looking at one side of the company. We're forgetting the other side of the company. And then you don't hear it if you're a hippo, but somewhere in there, someone's saying, when will this end? So the hippo effect can take you out of balance. The hippo effect can put your company at risk. Let's talk about another one. The shiny new penny effect. The shiny new penny is when someone comes in and says, I have a new idea. This idea is going to be the moonshot. This idea is going to be the one. And that penny is shiny. It's bright. And everybody's looking at it and they're like, wow, that is so cool. We really have to do this. So everybody stops what they're doing and they start looking at that shiny new penny. And they start to build and they start to create. And they're like, this is awesome. Then what happens? Suddenly, the shiny new penny loses its luster. It's not as bright as before. The idea wasn't as easy as people thought. In fact, it was more difficult. It takes more time. It takes more resources. There's legal considerations that are making it even more challenging. But wait, don't worry. I got a solution for that. I have the solution. Stop what you're doing, because right there's another shiny new penny. Stop. Because I got it. It's right here. And it's shinier and brighter than that last one. Everybody stop. Let's start working on this. And everybody stops. They grind to a halt. And they're so happy because the other one was so difficult. And they start working on the next shiny new penny. But what happens? We know the story. It starts to lose its luster. It loses its brightness. But it's okay because we have a solution for that. There's more shiny new pennies, and it never ends. And what happens to your company? Because you're only focused on exploration. You get exhausted, you get tired, you get out of balance. Now let's talk about startups and the startup effect. Where are my startup people out here? All right, we got some startup people in the crowd. I'm in a 15-year-old startup, so I'm not here to pick on startups. But what is a startup? A startup has a problem. They see a problem in a market that nobody's solving, and it meets a market need. So they do some exploration, they do some validation, and they understand that there's a need for this problem. So they go out and they get funded. They raise some money, they get some seed money, and they start to build. You know, they're fortunate enough, they found this problem, they got the money, seed money, they start to build. And they have a target date to get to market. And they're only focused on getting to market. And they're building and they're iterating because they want that product, once it's ready to go to market, to kick some ass, to get return to those initial investors, to make them money, to have that, you know, that success that comes with startups, that fabled success, because most startups fail. And what happens? They get ready to go to market and they're so excited. They forgot about the rest of the business. They forgot about the other side of the business. They forgot about the systems and processes. They forgot about the sales, the marketing, and the customer service and the support needed to take that product to market. They get out of balance. And what happens? Well, they might fade away. You know, they took their shot and they might go on to do other things. It fails. Or they go out and raise more money. And if they go out and raise more money, they lose equity, they lose power, but they survive and they continue fighting. That's the startup effect. It takes you out of balance. So let's talk about that startup. Let's say that startup was successful. Let's talk about the life cycle of exploration and the life cycle of the business. So it's no longer a startup. It grows to be an adolescent. From an adolescent, it becomes a teenager, and it becomes adult, and it's successful. It has good systems and processes. People are happy with the content and the product. Their clients are happy. They're adding things to it. They're making it better. They're getting more market share, and everybody's really happy. But one day, it continues to grow, and now it's sort of past an adult. You know, it's getting to middle age, and it's harder for them to come up with new ideas. But they're okay because they have clients and they're really starting to take advantage of what they have. And they're just eating from what they have. And they look at like new ideas. It's too complicated. It's too hard to bring these new ideas into the business. It's too hard to find. And so what happens to this adult company? Eventually, they become obsolete. And just like they once were a startup comes in and does what they want to do, but faster, cheaper, and starts taking away their clients. That company becomes at risk because it's only focused on exploitation. And how do we stay in balance? How do we get the balance between exploration and exploitation? As Depeche Mode says, you got to get the balance right. And if you get the balance right, if you get it to where they meet in the middle, magical things can happen. How can I exploit and explore at the same time? How can I reinvent my company so we stay current and continue to fulfill our potential? How can I continue to explore? Continuous idea flow, ongoing exploration, systems for validation, team empowerment, growth mindset, all good things we want to do with exploration. And how can I continue to exploit? clear objectives, clear key results, efficiency and accountability, discipline and systems and processes. That balance between exploration and exploitation. Can I do them at the same time? And if you can do them at the same time, the narrative is great things will follow. Huge success for your business. If you find that balance between exploration and exploitation, they meet in the middle, you are going to be successful. You are going to build a great business. You know who's done it? Netflix, as an example, has done it. Not today's Netflix, because they're not having a good time right now, but the older Netflix. They found that balance, and great things happened. Toyota Prius, they did it. Nespresso did it. They called them the 2%ers. Now, I know some of you are like thinking right now, if only the 2%ers can do it, that sounds way too difficult. I'm out of here. You know, why are you taking my time if only 2% of the people? Some of you are going, I want to be those 2%ers. I can do it. But it's complicated. And it's complicated. Is it so complicated to have continuous exploration, to serve continuous exploration, to have new ideas that are coming in and building them and filtering them to make that magic happen? I want to challenge that. And in the next couple slides, I want to challenge this idea that we can all be part of the 2%ers. And I'm going to present a strategy that we use that can help your company have continuous exploration so that you can have that exploitation that goes with it. So what do you need to do first? The first thing you need to do is you need to create an explorer team. So everybody say hello to Jordy. Jordy is assist administration from my company. He's 30 years old and he lives in Barcelona. Now, is Jordy a Trekkie? Does he have a unique degree in innovation and exploration? He doesn't. And I don't know if he's a Trekkie or not, but one thing I do know is that Jordy and I are different. I'm 5 years older than Jordy. We live in different continents. Jordy has different friends. He has a different phone. He has different habits. He has different hobbies. We are different. You can say Jordy is from a completely different tribe. And if Jordy's out there, love you, buddy. And of course, Jordy's on my exploration team because he has a different perspective. Who else is on my exploration team? My company. Everybody in my company is on my exploration team. And this is just a picture of us in December. We got together for a retreat. Everybody in my company is on my exploration team. You know who else is? All of our clients. All of our clients are invited to be a part of our exploration team. And you know who else? Our advisors, our people, the market. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds like a lot of people to manage. And some of you are saying, it's like, no way. It's not going to work for me. Too complicated. But wait, let me continue. I'm going to find a pathway in this to where you can do it as well. So we have our exploration team. And that exploration team is going to help us get the balance right. Because if we get the balance right, we're going to have organizational health and huge benefits will follow. And let's see. Kind of stuck here. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, we're back. Thank you. So, huge benefits will follow. We have our Explorer team in place. And what do we want? We want our Explorer team to find good problems. And what's a good problem? A good problem is, what do we define in exploration? Something, a new improvement, a new product, service, or tool that will keep and make our clients happy. That's what we want them to find. We don't want them to find good solutions to bad problems. We want them to find good problems. And how do you find good problems? And I'm not sure what that means. How do you find good problems? Well, you find them from your Explorer team. And, and you get them from research, right? You go out there. You do them from client interviews, from culture. At my company, we have a culture of continuously ongoing discovery and improvement, continuous growth. So we spend a lot of time trying to make ourselves better, and by making ourselves better, we're going out there and doing things. And when we're doing things, we're interacting with people, and we're finding things that we can improve. Surveys. The list goes on. And you can just go out and ask questions. What's your problem? What's your pain point? What are your challenges? Get in there. You get a list of good problems to solve. So now we're starting this process. We have an Explorer team. We're going out and we're collecting data. So where's the data go? In our case, we use Jira, which is a software project management tool, to collect information. That might sound complicated. There's other project management tools, but you can use a spreadsheet. You can use a notepad. It depends on how big your company is and what resources that you want. But what's the data that we're collecting? We're collecting three things, three simple questions. And we do this in a form. The first one is, let me get out of the way here, what is the problem? The second one is, what are we going to achieve when we solve it? Looking for good problems. What are we going to get from that? And how can we best achieve the initiative if you know? It's not fundamental if you know. And we collect this information. And every 2 weeks, we have a team that meets to review this data. We call it our strategy team. And in our strategy team, we have technology, we have customer experience, and we have executive. Think of customer experience as design. It could be your product design team. It could be you by yourself. It doesn't really matter. But what you're doing is you're getting together every 2 weeks or on a periodic basis, and you're going through your list, and you're filtering it. And what you want to get really good at as you're filtering is killing problems that aren't good problems to solve. The better you get at killing ideas or problems, the shorter that list of things the shorter list of things that are going to serve your company to organizational health and keep and make your clients happy. So how do we filter? We filter by looking at these three questions. Does anybody want it? Right? Because we're getting all this information and we're meeting every 2 weeks and we're quickly going through it. Does anybody want it? Okay, is it desirable? Yes or no? If it's a no, get rid of it. Should we build it? Is it viable? Right? Do we have enough money to build a solution? Do we have enough resources? Does it fit within our roadmap? Yes or no? And is it feasible? Can we build it? Do we have the know-how? Do we have to go outside? It's a simple filtering system. And this system allows us to get to a place where it allows us to challenge the hippo effect before we get to the hippo effect. It allows us to challenge that shiny new penny effect before we get there, and allows us to avoid the startup effect. And what are we trying to accomplish? We're moving from a product mindset to one of continuous exploration and discovery, investing more on the front end to reduce dramatically the cost of product development and choosing the wrong initiatives. So that's a lot of words. But what it says is, instead of investing in bad problems to solve, we're having a discussion on the front end, and before we even get to throwing money at it, we're taking some decisions and some filtering to find the best problems for us to solve so that we can continuously make and keep our clients happy. Oops. Why? We want a more balanced company that has the capacity to continuously reinvent itself. We want ongoing organizational health. So my wish for everybody here and who's listening, I hope you take away something from today's keynote, today's presentation that you can take back to your company and challenge maybe some of the ways that how you're operating so that you can find a pathway to organizational health. And thank you so much for your time and your presence. Thank you, Cyprus, and thank you, Panos and Webmaster Access, for putting this on and allowing me to come up here and speak. It's great to be here with everybody. And if you'd like a little bit of more information about Vendo and what we do, whoops, let me back up. There we go. You can join us at one of our merchant conferences. They are open for the public, and you can hear about the latest and greatest things that are happening in payments and in the worlds of marketing. We're going to be getting together September 22nd, and we're going to be focused on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And we're going to have experts, world-renowned experts talking about marketing, and join us. And as I mentioned, I'll leave that up there so you can grab it really quickly. And to wrap up, here's some sources of cited content. Great reading, really cool stuff. And thank you very much. We're back for questions and answers. If anybody has any questions or answers. I mean, I have the answers. If you have the questions, maybe. Does anybody have any questions?
So if someone want to visit Vendo, what is the website of Vendo? Hi. If someone want to visit the website of Vendo, where they should go?
Good question. Vendoservices.com. So VENDO services.com. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
My friend.
When we can processing from countries that are not just America or Europe. For example, I've been in the business 18 years in Colombia. I remember one time I was with Vendo, but I have to do an American company, but right now my company is Colombian, you know. But I know it's for the processing problems, but when going to processing directly in Latin America, for example, to owner of companies in Latin America?
Two parts to the question. So the question, I don't know if everybody heard it, but we're talking about processing payments and doing business in Latin America, whether it's e-commerce or anything that we're currently here discussing at Webmaster Access. So there's two sides of that question. There's the Visa and MasterCard, so high-level Tier 1 payment methods. And in order to work with a Latin American company, a company or a billing company needs to be in that region, in that Visa and MasterCard region, in order to service those clients. In the case of, I'll use our company as an example, Vendo. Vendo is not in Latin America. We're entering in Latin America now, so that we can create those local relationships with Visa and MasterCard. But historically, we've been in Europe and in North America. Now, the other side of that question is, in developing markets, there's a huge trend in financial technology about new payment methods. So there are people that are actively trying to solve this challenge that has been raised. How do you process in Latin America? What is the best tools? What is the best services? And it's getting better all the time. We can look at Brazil as an example with the introduction of Pix, which is a government-sponsored payment method for the unbanked anybody can use Pick to buy something online. And it's really cool. And over the last, I think it was created 2 years ago, and it's already a unicorn. It's massive, and it's growing. So I think, and I believe what's going to happen in other Latin American countries is that either governments or individuals are going to come in and say, the current system is not working. The current system of Visa and MasterCard is not accessible by almost nobody. So that's what I think is going to happen, and it's already happening. And we're tracking that, and we're looking at where can we add and how can we get into that market, because the size and the potential is amazing, and it needs to be served better.
In the presentation, you have discussed about exploration and exploitation. Based on your experience, which area do you think is more challenging? We know that, based on what you say, we have to find the balance. In your experience, what is more challenging?
Well, I think it's, I don't think it's my experience. I think it's so the question is, what's more challenging, exploration or exploitation? And I don't think it's depending on my experience. It's actually what you have inside your company, right? Because you're going to start with a base, and somewhere in there, you might have a strong operational group. And that operational group is your exploiters, right? They're making sure the trains run on time. So there could be someone who is really great at exploration. Or you might start with someone where a company is really good at exploration. The trick is to look at your company today and say, well, are we in balance or are we out of balance? Do we have someone who's really good over here? And if that's the case, then you want to find someone who's good over on the other side. So you get that balance right, and you can take a look at it. And we saw a lot of the different examples or effects of what happens when you're out of balance. You, over time, will put your company at risk, whether it's slowly or quickly. At some point, that out of balance puts your company at risk. And it's better to look at it today, look at your strengths and weaknesses, and see where you need to get balance. Okay, well, thanks again from Cyprus. It's hot. We wish you all were here with us. Next year, we're going to be here. I'm going to be here. It's great. So thank you, everybody.